Wow. Yeah, I love that answer so much, and there's almost a lot of stoic philosophy in there, in the sense that not focusing on the things that you can't control, and it's not what happens to you, it's how you think about it, and how that then affects your life. I wonder how that attitude helped you in big occasions of dealing with pressure on the football pitch. Maybe when you're walking out at a European quarter final against a team that everyone picked to beat you, that would pile a lot of pressure and maybe affect a lot of people. What was your process like for dealing with pressure, maybe in a game like that at the Euros?
Yeah, again, and I think from my perspective, I definitely picked this up from psycho-cybernetics, from the book Psycho-Cybernetics, but it was realizing what you're thinking and actually, obviously, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, but realizing that you can actually reframe that too. And so it's a similar concept, but what we mean by that, the example is, going into a massive game. Say it's your debut in the Premier League or debut in the first team. You've worked 10 years of academy, schoolboy, professional football, seen hundreds upon hundreds of boys come and go, and you're now in a position to play in the first team and realize your dreams. Now, immediately, you're going to feel nerves, so it's just before kickoff, you're waiting in the tunnel. There's 40,000 people in that stadium. It's a live game. It's being streamed around the world. There's probably 1 million people watching it, or who will see that. Might be on Match of the Day later as well, right? So all of a sudden, your thoughts will immediately, and this is just human nature, your thoughts will immediately think about the worst case scenario. And this is down to our fight and flight programming, in that if you think about the worst case scenario, it's actually good, because anything that happens which is better than that means that you're more likely to stay alive, right? So that's just an innate programming of us as a race, a human race, coming from the evolution of where we've come from. And again, 100%, if you're about to go into the ring with a lion, you need to be thinking, I'm about to die here. So you need to be prepared for that. And then anything beyond that, it's better than the worst case scenario. Now, the issue with that in the real world is that you're going out onto a pitch and you're not in a life-threatening situation. You're in a game and in a competition. And actually realizing then that emotional state of what you're feeling as nerves is actually a feeling of excitement. So when you feel nerves, what you're actually feeling is excitement, because you're in a situation where you have truly dreamt about this. You're in a situation where you are actually have an opportunity to realize your dreams, to do something you really, really want to do. So that butterfly feeling, which again can be, which in today's world we are taught is nervousness, it's actually not, it's excitement. So the sooner you realize that and are conscious of that, the sooner that you can then tap into that and then allow that to really empower you and allow that to really drive further your performance. Because then you realize and you say, wow, I'm feeling nervous. No, I'm feeling excited because I'm about to play in front of 40,000 people. What if I score? What if we win the game? What if I'm man of the match? What if this is the journey of me going on and getting a move to a team that I've always dreamed of? So it's actually excitement. And having that understanding then frees you as an individual to go and perform and go and play without fear, without restriction, and without inhibition. So so that's sort of the framing and the understanding of the sort of human psyche and what you're feeling. And as a young kid, like, it's like before that game, you speak to anyone you'll say, how are you feeling? They'll say, yeah, I'm feeling good. No, how are you feeling?
Yeah.
And they'll say, I'm nervous, I'm worried, I'm fearful. It's okay to feel that, but you're only feeling that because you have a unique opportunity. Now go and do your best, go and give your all. And that's all that ever matters. And then so when you realize that, if you can program your mind to think like that very early on in your career, when you then come to, you know, major tournaments, massive games against the world's best players, you just realize this is an opportunity. This is what I've worked for. This is what a privilege. And then you then begin to display gratitude, you know, emotional joy, you know, and yeah. So it's not something which I'm very conscious that it's not really spoken about within sort of the realms of sport. And this is my experience, what I have pulled externally into sport. And so, you know, there's massive gaps and there's massive deficits in sport where there's, you know, pools of individuals and players who are experiencing trauma through fear, anxiety, you know, these negative emotions, which actually can be flipped by shining a light on it and actually bringing awareness to it. But the problem is that, you know, the coaches, the managers, the clubs, the owners, the associations, Premier Leagues, they have no concept about what's actually going on either. So professional sports individuals are actually being underserviced and, you know, are put at risk because there is zero support mechanisms to actually discuss this and open up. So yeah, it's really interesting stuff for sure.